Hi, it's Mike Shadley with the Graybeard Bike. Today we're going to install Harley-Davidson high flow air filter, air cleaning system. This is the Screaming Eagle Harley-Davidson high flow air filter, stage 1. First thing we want to do, of course, is make sure that we have all the right tools available. Okay, for your tool inventory, I have a 1/4 inch drive ratchet, 3/8 drive ratchet, 1/4 inch extension, 1/2 inch socket, 7/16 deep well, a T27, T40. You're going to need some Allen sockets. You're going to need a 1/4 inch, 3/8, 7/32, and a 5/32, a 5/16 Allen wrench, and of course some type of a thread locker, and if you want, which I suggest, a 1/4 inch drive, inch-pound torque wrench. Alright, now that we've inventoried our tools, make sure we have everything we need. We're going to start by taking off the original air filter cover. Now, you notice I've got a little grease on a little oil on my hand here. That's because of the crank ventilation. What it does is it ventilates the oil or pressure out of the crankcase back here to be sucked back in, and sometimes you'll get a drip down here. It's no big deal, nothing to worry about. The filter itself, there are 3 screws that hold the filter on, and they are the T27 Torx bit. And when you take these off, this bracket right here, which holds the air filter on, will come off. As you pull your air filter off, there's a little hose behind it, just pulls out. Now, as I mentioned before, this is your crank ventilation tube. It comes through these top bolts. These top bolts have a hole in it. Your crank ventilates through these, and then the air filter, it sucks back into the intake. Okay, so you just grab these tubes and pull them off. And just pop out. Now, next thing you want to do is remove these 2 top bolts here that attach the original back plate to the top of the cylinder heads. 7/16 deep well. These are put on with thread lock, so it may be a little difficult to break loose at first. But don't be scared of them, just go ahead and pop them on out of there. Now, once those are loose, your original back plate will just come off. Now, I'll take a second to look at this. I told you before, they're hollow. You see the hole right through the middle of them there. Top bracket right here is going to have to be removed, and there's no way to get to, well, I guess there is a way, but there's really no way to get to these bolts, any easy way to get to them without removing your tank. It's not that big of a deal to remove your tank. It's really only 4 bolts, 2 in the back, 1 on each side here in the front, and then of course removing your gas line on the other side. We've got a couple electrical lines back here that you need to disconnect. So you just unplug these. They're for your meters, your gauges. So one. Vacuum line here. Unplug it. Rear, pull it back. Careful not to destroy anything. Back. There's another line. There's something on the floor to set it on so you don't scratch it and set it down. Okay, as we've removed the last bolt here out of the front of the fuel tank, you come back to the fuel tank, the fuel line, and as you can see here, this silver thing, you just push it up and then pull the gas line down and it disconnects. It's got an automatic shut off, so you might get a drop or two of gas and that should be it. Now what this bracket does is it's a wire support bracket. You see you've got a couple of cables here that are connected to it. So what you have to do is just unclamp them so that they're, see they just, this little grooves here, they just slide on, so you just slide them off. Now I've seen some people cut these brackets off instead of fighting it and just leave this part up there bolted to the top of the intake. But the reason you have to get this off is because the new back plate has to sit flush on this. You can't have this 1/4 inch gap here, then it wouldn't seal. Okay, so now we have everything off. We can start putting it back together. Pretty little Screaming Eagle decal if you want to put that on. Probably not. Okay. New air filter. This is your new back plate. So as stated, this back plate will fit up here, and for it to be able to seal here, these are longer, so it can't have that bracket behind it, which is the reason you take that bracket. This is a new bracket that replaces the one we just took off to be able to clip these 2 wires back onto. It's just going to go right here. Sand screws will go back in it. So you just take your same wires that you just took off and slide them right back on here. And voila, bolt it back down. Alright, I hope you can hear me. I had to go turn the air conditioner on. It was getting really hot in here. So At this point, when you start putting it back together, you can either use the original screws to hold this on, or this kit comes with some which already have some thread locker on it, so I'm going to use the new ones that come with the kit. You can see these are much easier to access because they're on the outside of the bracket instead of the inside of the bracket. So you could actually put the tape back on it, but we're going to leave it off, make it easier for you to see. Now this is where we want to start torquing. Okay, now those of you that aren't familiar with these small quarter-inch drive inch-pound torque wrenches, the ratchet itself doesn't click for torquing. What happens is when you get to your torque, I don't know if you can see that, the neck actually pops. You get that one, that's it, pop. If you keep pulling, it's no longer a torque wrench, it's now a breaker bar. Okay? So, put my glasses on so I can see. What I'm going to do is unlock it, set it to these torque at 55 to 60. So we go to there we go. There it is, 55. Down and pull. Did you hear it? It just popped. That was it. You keep pulling, it's no longer a torque wrench, and you're liable to break the bolt. So once you let it go, make sure it goes all the way back and pops back straight. And you can see. Just popped again. That is 55. Okay. There you go. You just heard it pop. But that's it. That's all there is to it. One more time. Pop. That's it. Stop, or you will break the bolt. Okay. Next thing we want to do is find the gasket. Now a lot of people will tell you, you know, put some grease on here or whatever to hold it in place. But if you look at this gasket, it's got a piece of paper on it. You pull this paper off. Now, I've seen other people take this and, oh, it doesn't stick. It's because it doesn't go there. What you want to do is take that, and it goes on the back of here. You line up your bolts, and then put the glued side against your breather. Back. There you go. Now it's there. It's not going anywhere. Okay. And we need to get the O-rings. Should be 4 O-rings. Four O-rings. And again, some people will tell you to put grease on these, so when you put them in here, the grease will hold them in place. Well, this is rubber. Grease is a petroleum product. What does a petroleum product do to rubber? It destroys it. Just take them, put these back ones in place. The front ones go on these bolts. Now again, these are the breather bolts, so they're going to have a hole in them. Now, you can see that it's got a hole in it. And there's a hole on the side right there. Okay? What that does is it now allows your pressure to blow back out of here, through this and out of this hole, and it goes into this. There's a hole inside there that you can't see, but then that feeds it through these things and back into the intake here. You can see these two holes to feed it back into here instead of blowing it into your filter like the original system does. Because this goes here, it's going to come through here. This is going to feed it down into there. It's going to come back out of here and then go right back into your airflow, back into the intake. Put the two O-rings here. Those two O-rings will go here and fit inside this groove inside of here. This is the one that people have issues with popping back out when you tighten it up. They will. It's just nature of the beast. Got to be really careful when you're putting it back together. Now, for some reason, these do not come with any type of thread locker on them. So, grab you some thread locker, blue, whatever brand you choose, be it Permatex or Loctite, whatever. Put a little bit around your thread. Second to dry up a little bit. Make sure you don't get it in this hole. Now you can either put it on now, or you can put the bolts through here and then put it on the back. It doesn't really matter. You just give it a couple seconds to dry, harden up a little bit on the threads. It's not going to get wiped off when you stick it through there. Before we put this on, I want to take these other mounting bolts, put them through here. They'll screw through this and then come out the other side. Don't really understand why there's even threads in that, but it keeps it from falling out once you put it through, I guess. Okay, now, so we've got those through. Take a little bit of your blue thread locker. Put on each one. Breather bolts. Yes. Line all of this up here. Just get started. Do not tighten them up. Just get started. Because we want everything to be lined up before we tighten anything up. Now, as I was telling you before, these O-rings will try to fall out here. Well, all you really have to do is to, all you really have to do is while you're tightening these up, just snugging them up. So if the O-rings start to fall out of place, just wiggle this a little bit. All you do, O-rings will kind of just pop right back in place. Be careful that they don't get pinched, because then you'll cut them and you don't accomplish any trouble. And we'll start these. Again, just snug them, do not over tighten them. Okay, now these attachment screws here torque at the same torque level as these, which was 55 to 60. So all they have the torque wrench already adjusted there, we're going to torque them down as well. Remember, don't grab this, because if you do, you kind of render the torque wrench useless. Just pop, see? Right, let's watch it one more time. See? The handle just broke. Felt like the handle broke. That's it. You keep pushing it. It's no longer a torque wrench, it's a brake. Now these two top breather bolts torque at 120 to 140. What we want to do is unlock this again. Change this to and 30. Lock it back in place. Again, before you start torquing, just make sure that your O-rings are in the right spot. You see how pre-tightened them. So they were pretty close together. Done. Now we're going to have to torque some more, but I like to always loosen my torque wrench up, bring it back to 0. Keeps the tension off your torque wrench, keeps it from wearing it down. Next thing we want to do, we'd already put the blue Loctite on these. You take these and insert these here. These are your breather mounting bolts or studs. Now, your breather mounting studs. Half-inch wrench. Again, these torque at 55 to 60. Lock it. Half-inch socket. The filter comes, it has this plastic piece in it. Take it out because they put it in there to keep the filter from getting crushed. The filter is now going to sit like this. And you take it so where it says Harley Davidson twin cam covers only, facing up. And you'll see all three of your holes line up. Again, if you want to put a little glue on these, you can. See? Again, if you want to torque it, 55 to 60. Now you want to take this piece that you took out of the air filter before. If you see the little, one side is thicker than the other, it's got a little hump on it. That is, I'll show you. You put that in, move it around. You'll see that these two holes right here line up with these two holes here. And that adapter that I put in there just fits right in there. Try to line up those two holes, move it around, you feel it when it falls in. That's in. Now you take your original cover. Wipe the oil out of it. And the bugs out while we get it off. Now what you want to do, you notice there's nothing back there. There's no flat plate like there was on this for this to seal into, this to seal here. Now this is not going to seal, it's just going to sit in the front. And the whole back's going to be open, which that's where you get you get increased airflow because the back's open. So you take this rubber gasket off, but if you don't, it's going to start flopping around and beating up on everything, and just get torn up anyway. There's probably a mark around here from where that gasket was. Just wipe that down. Try to wipe it off if you can. If it really bothers you. Now this will fit here. Now you see this piece that was sticking out? That is what's going to fill in this in order to keep this straight. And got a new bolt, already has the Loctite on it. Tighten that up. If I'm not mistaken, probably says to torque this at 55 to 60 round. I don't have a torque wrench, just or an Allen bit that's that big to torque with. Hey, it's an air filter cover. We just don't want it falling off. So we're just going to snug it up real good. So we feel it sitting in place the way you want it. Okay. Finally pull. And that's it. Of course, we want to put the tank back on, the seat back on, be ready to ride. Now, so I'm not sure if you can see it, but we've got Vance and Hines power duals already on this bike. So with increased airflow, it's not going to run the way it should. So we're going to put a tuner on it. This is the Vance and Hines FP3. Yep. Vance and Hines Fuel Pack 3. Of course, Harley Davidson makes one. They make a brand new one now that's supposed to self-adjust. For the money, I think this is probably the best deal. $400. You can download it, get a prefab, download and put on it. Once you do that, with this particular model, you can run your bike and it'll self-tune to the equipment, but it won't flash it over to ECM. You have to log in with your smartphone and flash it over. But you're going to have to do this or take the bike to Harley, pay them $300 to put their download on it. And of course, if you do any more work, you have to take it back to Harley. Do any more work, you have to take it back to Harley. You just buy this, and any additional work you do from now on, you just flash it. It doesn't cost you anything to go ahead and flash it and retune it. So next week we'll talk about this. Thank you. Remember, ride safe. All right, so we got it all put back together. We'll take it for a little ride and see how she rolls. Remember, let the good times roll.